What's up, YouTube? So, what do I think about did Shaq have anything to do with Shannon Sharp's situation? They got a beef that goes all the way back. You know, um, you know, Shannon Sharp was trying to be critical of Shaq's career, and he took note of saying some things that he didn't think Shaq got all of his stuff out of his career, which I disagree with because Shaq, four-time champion, last time the three-peat champion. And also, they had to change the rules for the guy. I always ask people all the time, what else was he supposed to do? You might could say he maybe left the ring out, maybe a couple thousand points, but what else could he really have done? I mean, he did dominate. They changed the game for him. But I know Shaq is petty. I know that, listen, just because I have him as a top five player ever and I hold him in high regards, because I know how dominant the cat was on the court. And I give him respect for what he's accomplished, but I do thinking him and Shannon Sharp are a lot alike in a lot of ways too, you know. And I say that because, I do, if you're asking me, I've been more of a Shaq dude in terms of the way how he go about certain things he said. I don't think that he goes out of his way to necessarily, his level of, he attracted people because of his talent off the wall. Shannon Sharp had to work his way to that point. That didn't happen overnight. Shaq from Getty up when he came into the NBA. Remember, he was considered a top 50 player, what some people had issue with back in 96. No one saw Shannon Sharp becoming that type of tight end or being one of the greatest players ever. He worked himself. Because let's keep it 100. Sterling was the better player. If you're old enough to remember, Sterling Sharp was the better of the two brothers. He just got hurt, and it never, and it's unfortunate, but he was. But Club Shay Shay, all this stuff just emerged in the last decade. It wasn't always the case. Whereas Shaq was a big old kick all the way. Shaq was rapping. Remember, he was the first rapper to go platinum. He was doing movies, commercials. That's all before he won chips. So he did a movie, Blue Chips, 30 plus years ago. Nick Nolte, Penny Hardaway. So obviously, Shannon Sharp and them, they had some beef, they had some words. And, it's hard to say. I know Shaq is petty as all get out. He's been petty with everybody. Fell out with Penny, Kobe, D Wade, Dwight Howard. But at the end of the day, people tend to either, roll with him. Because most of the time, it hasn't really backfired where it did, where because people either, not saying his antics were always clean and good though. But he is on TNT. He fits in good with Charles, Kenny, and Ernie. Shannon Sharp, though, tried to be a one man show. And that's another thing, too, the difference between the two. They both got big egos. But one thing you can say about Shaq, he'll let you know he won his rings and that can be nauseating and all that. But he froze in as a team player. When I watch him with Dr. J, he very humble when you watch the big podcast. See, that's the thing that doesn't get talked about enough. Shaq does show humbleness. Shannon Sharp ain't. Now, the elephant in the room is Shaq behind Shannon Sharp. Well, I don't know. I can't say. But this ain't the first time I would have heard somebody in the entertainment industry plotting someone's downfall. Not the first time, because I still believe Jay-Z and Dream Hampton had a hand in R. Kelly's situation. So I wouldn't put it past, because we know that in Black Hollywood and entertainment, people are petty. They don't get along. They don't love one another, and it shows. Yeah, I go there because I call it as I see it. Ain't no sugarcoating about that, because if they did, they wouldn't tolerate that plantation mindset, which divide to conquer. Those cats should be putting money together and working on something, not being divisive. But when you doing your platform, I'm doing my platform, we don't have platform. I don't know what Shaq would do. I don't think Shaq had anything to do with Shannon Sharp's own liaison things that he's doing, because Shannon Sharp's a grown man and he pretty much set his own bed. He's the one who pushed the whole show with Ocho Cinco and Michelle on Instagram and all that other stuff. Shaq ain't nothing to do with that. Could Shaq have told someone to look at him a certain way? I don't think it would have gotten to that level. If he did, it shows you how petty he is, which they all are. They all are. Because it's divide to conquer. And one of the problems with black athletes and whatnot that you see on these shows and whatnot is that they feel one has to be anointed. It's got to be one. Or we got to have this debate. We got to have these debates where we got to put one against each other as opposed to working together as brothers, as opposed to working together to build a foundation. That's why you don't have nothing, whatnot. And if you noticed, interestingly, you notice while Shaq does hype up, he gave LeBron James his flowers and his respect, and he always makes sure he tells him about Kobe, and he holds Jordan as top. He says Steph Curry should be in the GOAT argument. You notice he went more harder towards Steph, especially when Shea was going harder towards LeBron. So those things that to take note. But this is the big thing. Did Shaq have anything to do with Shannon Sharpe's situation? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Does it matter in the big picture? I don't think people are gonna care because they're gonna still look at Shannon Sharpe's choices and decisions. But everybody knows Shaq is petty. And Matt Barnes is out here instigating it, which I don't know why Matt Barnes wants to be talking about anybody because he still ain't Derek Fisher. We know about that, and we know about the umpire and the refs and all the antics that you done that's cost you money and other things all that smoke done worked out for you, but you done enough just petty stuff yourself. Cats out here snitching on the others and trying to like blow it up is a shame and embarrassing. But that's why we don't have nothing, don't work nothing, and brothers don't work together because this is the kind of jive that gets passed around as opposed to you. Maybe sometimes you need to take that to the grave. Maybe you need to say, hey, come grab your coat and say, look, homie, we need to work together. There's room for all. That's the sad reality of what we got. So Matt Barnes out here saying that Shaq had something to do with Shannon Sharpe's situation. But you got to have receipts and you got to have proof. And what is it exactly? But I know I'll say this. Ain't, as Allen Iverson always quoted, best quote, ain't no man squeaky clean. And if one man is snitching on another, chances are another man's going to be snitching on him. Because you know how petty these turkeys are out here in Hollywood and how they get down and how they can't stand to see another brother rolling like that. That's what they do. They talk one thing on TV, but they don't mean what they say. They just talking to a screen. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share it if you like it. The membership. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.